most Americans have very little idea of history.
Mm-hmm.
They don't realize that materialism was a philosophy that was adequate in a period, or served the needs of the people in a period when there was scarcity, when people had to concentrate on producing things and economic growth. And that was the 19th century. And in the 19th century, the philosophy of dialectical materialism was created. But we are now at a stage where we have more than we know what to do with. And so the abundance, the material abundance, is messing us up as human beings. So we have to have a philosophy that's more based on humanism than it is on materialism. The word capitalism didn't exist until the 19th century. People started moving away from feudalism for a whole lot of different reasons, including climate change, by the way, and the Black Plague. And then at the beginning of the 19th century, people began, the Romantics particularly, you remember Wordsworth saying, the world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Now, that whole movement of Shelley and Wordsworth was beginning to create a reaction against the materialism of capitalism. And so the word socialism emerged, but it emerged merely as a way of relating to each other and respecting nature rather than getting caught up in what we call the rat race today. Well, Karl Marx, who was a European, was very much concerned with the rapid growth of the economy in the United States as contrasted with Europe. So he began to think about how do we hurry up the growth of the productive forces in Europe. And so he said, well, we can only, the capitalists are so competitive, they'll never be able to develop the technology that can create material abundance. So what we need is workers' power to do that, and he called that socialism. He also had a vision of a society in which each could get according to his needs and give according to his or her abilities. And he called that communism. So it's very important to distinguish capitalism from socialism, from communism, and to understand that these terms were created in the 19th century when the needs were for economic growth in order to create abundance, and to realize that what Marx thought could not be done by the capitalists, well, it was actually done by the capitalists. They have created a technology for for material abundance. And so people use these words, but they have no idea of their historical origins. Well, it's a capitalist society which has undergone a heap of changes.
Yeah.
It started, there's a wonderful book by a man by the name of Wallerstein called Modern World Systems. I thought I had it here, which talks about the emergence of capitalism from feudalism over the centuries from the 16th century, 17th century to the 19th century. And the French Revolution and the Industrial Revolution all had to take place in order that we would begin to have a capitalist, what we call a capitalist system. But since the 19th century, when all that was created, we now have global capitalism. We had multinational corporations emerging in the late 60s and 70s. And so we're in a very different place from when, I think the difficulty is that most people use these terms without thinking that they are originated out of actual historical circumstances.